Yesterday, we got what could be the new art direction of the new Crash Bandicoot. I have thoughts I would like to share. Also, a few more screenshots have surfaced of this new design of Crash. Let's talk about it! What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and back with an exciting new Crash Bandicoot video. So yesterday, while I was streaming, a huge leak was found. Jump Button and Montwera, huge pillars within the Crash online community, had found images of a brand new Crash Bandicoot game, except this time for mobile phones. This came out on the heels of Activision's quarterly call, where they stated that King, the mobile game developer and publisher that Activision owns and develops Candy Crush, was working on games based on Activision's catalog of IP. Here are 6 images that were discovered yesterday, all for you to see, but the important ones are these 4. In this image, we get the best look at Crash's new design, which is actually pretty good looking. In this image, we see another pose, and my goodness, this pose does not look great on this model. Then, we see an in-game screenshot of the style of gameplay, and it seems to be an infinite runner style, similar to Temple Run. Then, we see a new mechanic which is related to building bases. We have no further information other than that. However, we had gotten 3 new images since the reveal yesterday. 2 are from someone named Tyler, and 1 from an unknown source. So, remember how I said that Activision and King were allegedly doing test ads for the new Crash game in South America in yesterday's video? Well, a user who had came out of nowhere on Twitter DM'd me a video of looking at the images seemingly beforehand. Now, sadly, I could not download the video, but it showed a lot of the same stuff. But there were 2 images that were definitely different. The first image revealed yet another game mechanic, where you have to make serums to defeat Dr. Cortex. I have no idea how this would affect the gameplay, but it will be interesting to see what they do with it. Next up, we got another angle and render of Crash with off-putting Insane Trilogy renders of Cortex and Coco. Now the reason for this is likely because they were still in early production when the game was being sent around to be tested, and the important character for a Crash game is, well, obviously Crash Bandicoot. So they likely got that render and the model done for the test run, and then just imported the insane renders for the sake of time. Also, Coco and Cortex's design may not have been finalized yet. Speaking of which, let's talk about the reason why you are probably here. Let's talk about this new Crash design, what my thoughts are, and what this all could mean. So, before we even start that, I sat down and did a lot of patchwork. I took both of these pictures, increased their quality, cut them out, then did a patchwork job, and bam! I was able to make a head-to-toe clear mock-up of the new Crash Bandicoot model that we saw, so that we can actually get a good look at him, and not the other thumbs-up model. So first off, this is a Crash Bandicoot that looks very much like the exact same approach that was taken with Spyro. We got a bit of all 3 versions of Crash, the Insane Trilogy as a baseline read, which of course is a pretty faithful mock-up of the original model, with aspects of Mind Over Mutant and Crash the Titans Crash with the fox-like ears and the bushy face in general. We also got a nice little nod to Twinsanity games with Crash's shoes, but instead of the charcoal colors that they had, they went back to the maroony purple red like the original shoes were. Now, I've been reading a lot of your comments on my previous video and posts about this design, and honestly, there is a lot of arguing going on. So I'm going to come forward and state my thoughts on it. I actually really like it. However, that comes with a proviso, which I will get to in a second. But this design is actually a really smart way of creating a Crash design that tries to appease all sides of the fan base. This new art direction seems to be pushing a more cartoony cel-shaded art that is extremely similar to the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Again, comparing the models, you can see that they are the same style of modeling. Simplified textures, soft colors, nothing really abrasive. This again leads me to believe that this is a render that is based off of another render that will be based in the Unreal Engine. Now, I have had a lot of people tell me that an engine doesn't have a look to it, and I understand that. So I'm going to make my point more clear because it seems like people are not getting what I'm trying to say. Yes, you can make any engine look a specific way, but certain engines excel at rendering images a certain way when it comes to materials, shaders, lighting, and how the lighting interacts with the object. Take a look at Spyro in the Unreal Engine and Spyro in the Alchemy engine. It is confirmed that these are the exact same models and meshes. So why does Spyro on the Alchemy engine look different if it's the exact same model? Because Alchemy renders the model and textures differently. The Unreal 4 material system also likely has a completely different setup from Alchemy. The look of this Crash model looks similar to the same asset pool that Spyro Reignited's model came from in terms of shaders and materials. Also, Unreal already works on mobile phones, further proving the point that Crash and Spyro will likely move towards a more universal workflow using the Unreal Engine to be able to produce more products quicker. I have stated this many times in previous videos, but this brings me to the proviso that I had mentioned. I love this model and art direction with Crash, as long as this is not the final version. I would like to see how this model looks in a higher graphical fidelity on the next generation of consoles, but if this is the general new art direction that Crash is taking, I love it. As my good friend said, this model truly makes him look like a goofball and adds a new layer of adorableness, which I think will translate well into merchandise. But there's two more points I want to quickly make before I go. The first one is a concern that many have voiced. That is this the Crash Bandicoot game that everyone was waiting for? And the answer is extremely highly unlikely. Again, this game is being made by King, not Vicarious Visions, not Toys for Bob, not any of the main development teams. King. Which means that the game does not impact the development speed of the mainline Crash game that would be coming out. They simply would likely recycle assets from the new game to the mobile one. If you still don't believe me, then how about this? Skylanders, even during its peak, when it seemed untouchable by any other game, had made 7 mobile games. 7. Did any of those apps slow down the production of the mainline games? Absolutely not. They still released a new game every single year for 6 years straight. This mobile app is not going to slow down the mainline Crash games production. The next point is, when is this going to come out? Well, I got a feeling that this game will drop around the time that the next Crash Bandicoot launches. I would say it would be probably drop a little bit before the 2020 Crash game comes to get people excited and hyped for the next game. But that's just my thoughts. Nothing to back that up other than assumptions. Anyway, what do you think of Crash's new design? Comment below and please, let's all be civil about it. A huge thank you to all those who support the channel through Patreon and being a sponsor on the channel. If you'd like to help it out, check out the links in the description below, where you can buy some CGE merch or become a Patreon. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming and nostalgic content. Thank you so much everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video.